Hey, what's up? My name is Chris, and welcome to Coding in Public. Today, we've got something a little bit different for you, but something that I think will be a huge help, especially if you are learning vanilla JavaScript. You can see here that I've got this GitHub open up, and what this is just a list of different JavaScript DOM challenges. So I'm going to plan on doing a couple of these in the future if you're interested. If you're not interested, then maybe this will be the only one, but you can see here that what we've got is both a blank and a finished branch. So you're just going to come in here to the blank, go ahead and come in here, and then you're going to grab the code right here and just download the zip file. Once you do that, you can open it up in any code editor. I've got mine open in VS Code right here, and you can see that every single project has an index.html, a style.css page, and an app.js page. So with this index.html page open, I'm going to go ahead and use this extension called live server just to open up a local development server. So if I come down here, once I've got that installed, I'll have this go live button. So I can just click on this and it will open it up for me. You can see here that this gives me just kind of a template that I can use. It's got some text, it's got some images, some cards, buttons, all that kind of stuff. You don't have to worry about any of the styling because we're just going to focus on JavaScript. So with this set here, you can see all this is the HTML that I've got over this way. We're going to go ahead and open up this app.js file and just work through this series of challenges. So before we get going, let me just point out kind of the structure of these challenges. I've got beginner challenges. There's 5 of those. They're pretty basic, but if you're new to JavaScript, or even if you've experienced doing it, it's helpful just to kind of play around with these, and you should be able to get through these pretty quickly. If you say, hey, I feel kind of comfortable with JavaScript, then go ahead and jump in on these beginner plus challenges. And then finally, I've got some intermediate challenges, and all of these include optional bonuses as well if you want to jump into those. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and let you pause the video right now, work through however many of these sections you want to, and then when you're ready, go ahead and play it, and we'll walk through these together. All right, hopefully you've had success doing it your way. I'm going to show you how I did it. And because JavaScript has a bunch of different ways to do the same thing, you may have something a little bit different than me. And that's okay as long as you came up with the same end result, which hopefully the instructions were clear enough to get us to that same point. Okay, so let's start with creating a div. Const, we'll just do like temp div or something like that equals document dot create element. And I'm just going to create a div. So there's my temporary div created. Next, I want to add a class of Boxy to that div. So we'll say temp div dot class list dot add, and I'm just going to add the class of Boxy. All right, add 2 paragraphs of text to that div with the text of your choosing. All right, so there's a couple different ways we could do this. I could come in here and I could create the paragraphs ahead of time. So I could say like const paragraphs, something like that. And in here, I could do a couple different things. I could create an element and then stuff that element with text, or I can just create a text string. I think that's what I'll do. So in backticks here, although I guess it doesn't need to be in backticks, but I'm just going to add a paragraph like this, like that. So this will be my first one, and this will say this is a first paragraph. And then I will go ahead and copy all this, and we'll do the same thing again. So down here, let's just give ourselves some space. And I guess having backticks lets me put this on 2 lines without it breaking. So maybe let's just do this to make it a little clearer. So backticks did help miss. How about that? All right, in here, this is a second paragraph. And then I'll come in here and I'll say temp div dot, and it's not an element. It's just text string. So there's a couple different things we could do here. We could set the inner HTML of the text. So we could do inner HTML. So that's one option. So maybe let's just do that this time. We'll just say that this equals my paragraphs. All right, insert the div into the DOM just after the H1. So first of all, I need to grab the H1. So we'll say the H1 equals document dot query selector. And I'm just going to grab the H1. There's only one on the page, as there should be. And I'll have to come in here and say H1 dot. And now what I can do is insert that element. So I could do this a couple different ways. I think the easiest is just going to be to say insert. Let's do insert adjacent element, because the div here is an actual element because I created it that way. And there's a couple different things we can give this. You have to give it a position. So I'll say after end, so after the end of the H1 tag, and then I will insert it like this. So temp div, there we go. So if I save it, there we go, it shows up over here. Because I added this class of Boxy to it, it gives me this Boxy styling. Okay, add a third paragraph to the div after it's in the DOM. So now I need reference to the div that's actually already in the DOM. So let's go ahead and do this. So we'll say const temp div in DOM like this. And I'll say document dot query selector. And let's see, I need something I can use. And I don't think I just want this this boxy class because I might have other things with that eventually. So maybe I can come up here and let me also add temp div.id, and we will set this to, why don't we just set this to the temp div in DOM. How about that? Okay, so like that. And then what I can do is use that to select it. So I'll come in here and select it right in here, like that. Okay, so now I've got access to that. And so now what I'm going to do is add a third paragraph to the div after it's been in the DOM. So I want to add some text just before the end tag of that div. So if I were to open up this over this way, let's see right here, and let me give myself a little bit more room if I can get this to move down. Okay, so what I want to do is right between here and here, add one more paragraph. So again, there's a couple ways I could do this. It's not an element, what I'm about to add. It's just going to be string, but there's an API for that. So I can come in here and say temp div in DOM dot insert adjacent HTML. So that's just an HTML string. It takes the same arguments though. So I'll say before end in this case, so before the end closing tag, and then I'll just add string in here again in backticks just so I can put it on its own line. So I'll say paragraph. This is a third paragraph. Okay, just like that. All right, and if we did it right, if I save this, there it is. Okay, so now it's in here. Okay, so that's the beginner challenges all done. Hopefully that was a help to you. Maybe you did it a little bit differently. Let me know in the comments if there's a way that you think it could be improved, what I did. Again, there's not really one right way to do it. This is just the way that I chose to do it. All right, to the beginner plus challenges down here. Add an unordered sublist to the last item with 3 children, 1, 2, and 3. So I've got these items right here. So I want to add an unordered list to the last list item. So first of all, let me get access to the list itself. And let's first of all open up the index.html page. And I'll come in here. Okay, so I've got 3 items right here. Let's just grab access to this list. So I've got this class here. So I'll say list equals document.query selector. And I'm just going to grab the list like that. And what I want to do is add an unordered sublist. So again, I could create an element. That might be one way to go about this. Or I could just insert text. Yeah, so let's do this. Let's say list.insert adjacent HTML. So we'll do an HTML string here. We'll say before end, and then we'll just insert it directly after this as a string. So inside here, again, in backtick, so I can go on separate lines, I'm going to say UL, like this, unordered list. And let's think about this actually, because I think I'm just inserting this as that last item, where I really what I want to do is get the last list item and insert it inside of that. So what I need to do is not grab the list, but grab these list items. So let's do that. So we'll say list items. And here this will be list item, and this will be query selector all. This also needs to be a class. So I messed up a bunch of things there, but here we go. So we'll say list items. And what I want is the last of these, because this is going to just be a list right here, a node list. So I want my list items dot length -1. Okay, so I've got my last one, and now what I want to do is insert adjacent HTML before the end of that closing li tag. So inside of here, I've got now this unordered list, and let's just do one after the other. So I need 1, like that, and then copy this down a couple times, and this will be 2, and this will be 3. Did I do that correctly? Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So that's the first one done. Add a paragraph after the list of items with a class of glow. So here, maybe let's go ahead and grab the list and say document.query selector, and we're going to grab the list like that, and I'll say list. Actually, maybe this time let's do temp paragraph like this and do document.create. Let's see, create element. I'll create a paragraph tag, and I'll grab that temp p, and I'll say class list dot add the class p. Actually, what was it? Glow to it, and then now I'll say list dot insert. Actually, let's just append a child. So we'll say append child, and I'm going to append. Let's see, I need to append it after this, and it's just the temp p. Okay, so if I did that correctly, this paragraph here, although it does need some text, so let's do that. So maybe after we add the class, we'll say temp p. Yeah, I don't need it to say anything in particular. So let's just say text content is equal to this has been added through my app.js page, something like that. Okay, now let me go ahead and save this. And nothing is anywhere. Okay, so text content, append child, temp p to the list. So it should be down here. All right, let's see what I did wrong. Come in here. Document. Oh, well, that'll do it to you. Document. Okay, there we go. I just misspelled something. So this has been added through my app.js page. And let me make sure that that is actually inside the UL. Okay, it is. Cool. But it needs to be after. So I can't actually do append child. So let's switch this up to add or insert adjacent element. We'll do after end, and then we'll do temp p like that. Okay, so now it should be outside of that UL tag right after it, and that's where it is. All right, remove a card when its button has been clicked. So let's come in here. Let's see how these cards are written out. So they've all got a class of card. The buttons have this class of card button. So let's use that. So I'll say const card button. Actually, we'll just say card buttons like that equals document.query selector. And I'm going to grab all the ones with the class of card button. So let's grab all. And then let's loop through this list. So we'll say card buttons dot for each. And we'll just call it a button. We'll say button.add event listener. And I want to add an event listener of a click. And whenever it's been clicked, what I want to do is fire a function. We'll call this remove card when a button is clicked. All right, let's write that function. We'll just do it right here. Now I know whenever I'm going to click on this that the target will be the button itself. But what I want to do is grab the target's parent. In fact, if I come over here, you're going to see inside here, I've got this button and its immediate parent is the actual card itself. So that's what I want to remove. So all I have to do is say e.target, or actually I could do current target too, because it's the same thing. Current target is just what the event listener has been set on, which is the button, and the target is what's been clicked, which is the button. So either way, current target dot parent element dot remove. And this is just a method that lives on DOM elements. So that should work. In fact, if I come over here and click this, nothing happens. Let's see, what am I missing? Let's see, I just need some brackets here. Like that. Let's click again. There we go. It removes it for me. Okay, so they're all removed now. Obviously, if I refresh, they come back. You know what? We can make this a little simpler. So let's just do this all inline. So whenever we've clicked, I'm just going to say that the button dot parent element dot remove like that. And let's get rid of this altogether. There we go. And now if I come in here and I start clicking, they start removing. Cool. All right, change the event listener to the following. Toggle the class glow to the image when you click on the cards button. So now I need to kind of traverse the DOM a little bit. So there's a couple different ways we could do this. I click on this. I want to add it to the card here. So I could go to the parent itself and then do a query selector down here. I could also use the closest method, which will go up the DOM tree rather than down the DOM tree looking for something. Let's see, but I would still have to go up to the card and back. So let's just do this. We'll grab the parent element, and then we'll say dot query selector. So once I'm at the parent, I just want to grab the image tag, and then I want to say dot class list dot toggle, and the class I want to toggle is, if I can get in here, glow. Is that right? Glow, yeah. And let's come in here and go ahead and add some brackets just to clean this up a bit, like that. Let's see, I'm missing a closing tag here. There we go. So now if I come in here and click, it should make this glow, and it does. Look how glowy those photos are. Okay, cool. So we're done with that too. Change the event listener to the following. When you click the title of all other cards changed to jealous. All right, so let's do that. So now what I want to do is go up to the grandparent. So there's a couple different ways we could do this. Let's see. Bonus is change the title of the card that was clicked to I'm the greatest. So let's think through this. Let's just move this down here so we can keep this all together. So I'll do that down this way. Card buttons. All right, so document.querySelector all. I've grabbed the card buttons already. I want to loop through those whenever these are clicked. And now this is kind of getting gnarly. So let's take all this out. And now let's say, we'll say handle button click, something like that, which is a much more reasonable function name. So we'll say handle button click like this and grab the event. Okay, cool. And then let's move over to the HTML just to look at what we've got here. So I do have individual IDs on the cards, so I could use that. So maybe let's do that. Card 1, card 2, card 3. Okay, cool. So let me come over here. And I'm going to grab, first of all, outside here, all the cards. So we'll say const cards equals, and here I'll say document.querySelector all, and I want to select anything with a class of card, like that. So that once I come in here, what I want to know is which of the cards have I clicked and which one have I not clicked. So I'm going to say const the card ID, since they all have those IDs, will be my e.target.parentElement.id. So that should give me the ID of the card I've actually currently clicked. And then what I want to do is then loop through all my cards. So we'll say cards.forEach. And for each card, what I want to do is come in here and say if the card.id, so the card's ID, is, let's see, not equal, like this, to the card ID up top that I just grabbed, that variable up top. Then what I want to do is return the card.querySelector, and I want to grab the H2, which if I remember correctly is, yeah, right here. Or I could grab the card heading. Maybe let's do that. So I'll come in here, and I'm going to grab the ARD heading, card heading like that. And I want to change the inner HTML of that, or the text content, how about that, of that to this string right here. I'm just going to copy this out, place it in right here, and hit save. So let's see. If it doesn't equal it, there we go. That one's jealous now, and that one's jealous. Oh, it refreshed on me. Okay, cool. And then we had a bonus here. Change the title of the card that was clicked to I'm the greatest. All right, then after the if loop, but still inside the for each loop, what I can do is then the only thing that will get through here, since I've returned out of here, will be the card that actually matches the button that I clicked on. So I'm just going to say the card. So still looping through this again, and I want to change this to I am the greatest. Okay, so let's see if we did that correctly. Come in here, click. That's I'm the greatest. Okay, cool. So that's done for all the beginner plus challenges. All right, intermediate challenges. Let's see if we can't pick up the pace a little bit as well. I'll do less explaining and more just kind of writing as quickly as I can to get this all out. All right, append a button below the card container that says add more cards. So let's first of all grab the card container. So card container equals document.querySelector. And let's see, let's just grab whatever that one is. So what is this called? Class of card container. Perfect. Okay, so card container like this. So I've got that. I want to append a button below. So let's go ahead and just create a temp button like this. Document.createElement. And it will be a button. And then temp button.classList.add. And that will have the class of button to it. And temp button.text content will be equal to add more cards. All right. So what I have to do is just grab the card container. Append child, and I want to append the temp button. So there we go, right here. Now that's actual inside the card container, so this needs to be below. So again, I need to come in here and say insert adjacent element like this. And we're going to do after end. There we go. So now it's down below here. Add more cards. Create a function that generates a new card when you click it. You can copy the current HTML code and place it as the last card in the card container. So let me come over here and first of all grab this code right here. All right, and let's come in here and we'll say function create card, or how about generate card? Generates a card like that. And we don't need to take in anything right now. Let's add this in backticks here. And let's see, let's maybe just return like this. Okay, I've Got all that set. A bonus, set the query parameter of the image to the ID of the image of its card number. Okay, so what I need to do is basically figure out how many cards are currently in the card container. So card container dot children dot length. Let's see if this will give us what we think. So we'll say const current number of cards equals, and then let's go ahead and just query selector this. Open this up here. So if I click this, oh, I haven't hooked it up to anything. Generate card. So let's go ahead and first of all const more cards button equals document dot query selector. And now that it's already in the DOM, let's see, did I give it a class? I did. No ID though. So let's say temp button dot ID equals something like more cards button. How about that? Come in here. Let's grab reference to that and say more cards button whenever it is clicked. So add event listener. We're listening for a click. Whenever it's clicked, I'm going to run that more. What was this? Generate card. Generate card. And I'm not actually manually invoking it. I'll let the browser do that, so I'm not adding parentheses after it like that. So I'll save that, click here, generate card number of cards 3. Okay, so that did work correctly. So it told me the number of children I have. So now I know to come in here. Since I'm already in backticks, I can just say card. Let's see, the query parameter of the image and the ID of the image to its card number. Okay, so what I'm going to do is come in here, say current number of cards plus 1. Grab this right here and change this right here as well. So the way that Lorem Pixum works is you can basically give it random numbers. Let's see, right here. And each random number you give it, it'll basically give you a different image. So you don't have to do that, but now that we have, if I save this here, that should work. Now we have yet to actually add it as a new child inside here. So let's come in here and let's see, we're going to generate a card. After it's generated a card, let's say, I guess let's not return it here. We'll just say something like new card equals that. And then what I can do is come in here and say, see card container dot append dot insert adjacent. And it's not an element because it's just a text string. So we'll say insert adjacent HTML. We'll say before end. And we'll say new card. So we'll add that in like that. Okay, so now if I come over here and click, it should add another one, and it does. And maybe just to make sure that this is happening, let's grab this too and change the title right here to the number as well. Okay, so now if I come over here and click title 4, it should be 5, 6. Okay, cool. And now if I click on these, it won't give me this whole thing. I'm the greatest because the way I originally did that, at least I don't think. Let's see. Click here. It doesn't give me that. Nope, keeps it the same just because I originally just selected the cards that were already in the DOM rather than using like event delegation, which we'll use, I think, in a second if I remember correctly. All right, number 3, create a function that adds a card but receives 2 parameters. So let's just maybe alter the function instead. When invoked, the function should create a new card with those parameters, title and description. Create 3 new cards from JavaScript. Okay, upon page load. So what we'll do is, actually maybe let's just change it. So let's bring it down here. We'll call it generate card from JavaScript. Very long here. And what we'll do is go like this. And what I need to do is pass in a title and a description. And I think that's it. And I just have to run this 3 times. Then we'll pass in 2 things. We'll pass in a title and we'll also pass in a description. So let's do this. Let's just add this as an object here so that I can kind of write these out a little more clearly. So we'll say like title, another title or something like that. And then comma, and we'll say description. This is a descriptive paragraph. All right, and since I pass this in as an object right here, I can just destructure these right here as the title and the description. And let me come in here, and since I already added the number after the title, I'll just come in here and say the title right here. And then inside here is where I'll add the description. And now you'll see it's added 1 right here. Cool. So let's go ahead and just manually copy this down a couple more times, and we'll just leave it like that. And now when we refresh, we've got 5 and 6 as well. All right, 2 left. Remove a card from the DOM only when the card image is clicked. Bonus, make it work on new cards added to the DOM. So the way we do this is with event delegation, because right now, let's see, only these 6 are here. But if I add additional cards, so if I come here and click here and add more cards, I want it to work on these as well. So what I need to do is grab reference to the entire card container and do the event listener on that. So I've already got the card container up top. So card container, I think we used that earlier. So we'll just add an event listener here. The listen is for a click, and we'll just pass this to something called like handle image clicked or something like that. And let's write this up top here. So function handle image clicked. I'll take the event. And in this case, what I want to know is if the e.target.classList has the class list dot contains, and I want it to contain whatever my images have, card image right here. So let's grab this and we'll say if it contains card image. And so let's do a negation. First of all, like a little guard clause. So if it does not contain that, we'll throw a bang right on the front of this. If that's not the case, then we're just going to go ahead and return. So the only thing we should get is anytime an image is clicked. And then what we could do is a couple different things. We need its parent element. So I could just say e.target.current or .parent element, but since we've already done that, let's say .closest. And what I want to grab is the card, like that. And then I want to remove it. I think that should work. If I come in here and click, that removes that one. Let's see, up here. So the closest here, this just looks up the DOM tree. It's like a query selector in reverse. It looks up and finds the closest thing with the card, which in this case would be the parent itself. And the nice thing about using the closest is that if this was like nested further inside the card, we don't have to like traverse to the parent and then the parent's parent and all that kind of stuff. We can just look right up the DOM tree until we find the card. Okay, one final thing, insert a button that says change color scheme. Ensure the button has a class of button that changes the CSS variable hue to a random number between 0 and 360. All right, so this one will be fun. We can add this anywhere we want. Maybe let's just do it at the top of the page. Or let's just grab the card container. We'll say insert adjacent HTML. We'll say before begin, so before the actual tag starts. And inside here, we're just going to add button. This needs a class of button. And let's also give it an ID of like generate color or change color button, like that. And it was supposed to say change color scheme. And we'll add a closing tag of button. All right, so it should be up top here. There it is. Okay, cool. So now let's grab reference to that. So const color button equals document dot query selector, and we're going to select the ID of change color button. All right, whenever color button is clicked, so let's add an event listener here. So whenever it's clicked, let's just do an inline function here. And let's come down this way. Let's see, I misspelled document again. Document like that. Okay, cool. What I want to do is first of all get a random color. So let's just say const ran color is equal to, let's just write a function called get random color. This, and let's come up top here and say function get random color, and we're just going to have it return math.floor. Let's see, what do we need? Math.random. So this will give us a random number between 0 and whatever we multiply times, which would be 360. So this should give us something between 0 and 360. So now I should have that. Let's come in here and just double check. So if I console log that and I come in here and I click this, there we go, 153, 190. Okay, cool. Then what I want to grab is reference to the actual root, I think. So if I come in here and open up my CSS, you can see here that here's the hue variable I've got, and I've got it set on my root. I could also grab the document element. That's the same thing here. Maybe let's just do that. That might be easier. So if I come in here and say document element style set property, what I want to set the property of is my variable of hue. This, and what do I want to set it to but my rand color. All right, so if that worked properly, the way I've got the CSS set up, it should just grab a new random color and apply it everywhere all throughout the document. And since that hue is used to style this entire page, you can see how it just updates everything automatically. All this styling, obviously, you don't have to worry about. It looks like this one I can update the card styling a bit to make that a little bit more pleasing, but you can see how these are all just styled based on this one color scheme. And in fact, while we're at it, let's go ahead and change that in the card container. This is bonus here. We'll just say is the children here should be align items start. And now I don't think that one should stretch as much when I get over here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So if I click this, all this updates automatically. Okay, so that is it. We're all done with the challenges. Hopefully that was a big help to you. If you're interested in more videos like this, let me know, and I'd love to put together some additional challenges. All right, thanks so much for watching. Happy coding.